Hey all, Data Guy here. And today I have a video for you where I want to show you something I just came across on the internet today, which is Google's Mesop framework for developing AI apps. So the way I'm kind of thinking about this is really like a competitor to Streamlit, but more tailored for visualizing AI workflows, having, kind of more the demo chat experience or the chat experience interactivity versus Streamlit, which is relatively static. It's more just meant for, hey, you're running the script and then you're going to visualize those results and make that visualization available to a number of different people. So similar format, but kind of a different end use case where instead of taking your Python scripts and visualizing them as graphs, as different graphics, Mesop is more for saying, hey, use your Python expertise to just build a UI that is going to help run your AI and ML workflows. And so with that, it kind of comes with a few key features. And also I'll first go into kind of just high level what Mesop is, why you might want to use it. And then I'll show you how you can get started setting it up on your local machine, walk you through just developing your first kind of little application with Mesop. So hope you enjoy this video. And so just to kind of get started with, hey, what is, Mesop at its core? If I go to the components here and core concepts. So really what Mesop is just, again, a way to develop AI chat apps, but in a Pythonic way, with things like scalability, efficiency, modularity, fault tolerance, all built in. So Mesop is designed to scale across thousands of machines and allowing you to serve models with really low latency to millions of users. And that's really important if you have an application that requires real-time predictions. So things like search engines, Google uses, recommendation systems, personalized content delivery. And so Google actually developed it to manage these workflows for Google, and then they decided to open source it so that other people can use it as well. So it's already been battle tested in some of the most computationally, load-heavy environments that are run by Google in the world. And so it also has a lot of optimization built in by balancing the computational load across many different machines. You have a really easy way to deploy and interact with all the different other applications, whether they be web applications, model frameworks. You can use models trained using TensorFlow, PyTorch, other ML libraries. It's also got fault tolerance mechanisms built in for high availability, so you can easily share these in a scalable manner, not just a one-off for a single team, but being able to share this across an entire organization or even to the public. And then it's also designed to be able to deliver predictions with really minimal delay. So really well suited to applications that require like really instant feedback. So voice assistants, chatbots, real-time analytics, anything like that is going to be something that this is really well suited for. And it's all written in Python, which I love. And so for some use cases you might want to think of using Mesop for, there's kind of a few big ones that I think are relevant here. Number one, for things like search engines, like, hey, I want to be able to search for anything within, docs, provide relevant search results by kind of pairing, your machine learning model with the content itself. And you can see you have these LLM playgrounds here as well. You also have things like recommendation systems, giving you those really instant personalized recommendations. So you have this form that's served through Mesop. Maybe it's even on the back end that takes what the values that the user wants to predict for, and then take those parameters, run the model's computations, generate the predictions, and then serve that response back to the user, all in relatively real time. And then also another way that this is able to serve this is it has good caching optimization here. So it employs caching mechanisms to store frequent predictions and intermediate results. So if there's a common prediction that's being used a lot, Mesop will actually automatically cache that and reduce the need for those redundant computations. And then also conversational AI, pretty obvious here, but having an easy to build chatbot that can kind of be served to an end user, isolated onto a single subject matter is really powerful. But that's enough of just feature selling. Time to go into the actual project, which you can go to and download off of Google or off of GitHub. So if you go to GitHub, Mesop, there's a link on the Mesop website, and I'll drop in the description below. But what I'm going to do is download this repo and then show you how to get it all set up on your local machine. So now here we are in our local development environment, and the first thing we're going to need to do is pip install good old Mesop. So what we will do is just go into our command line and then pip install Mesop. and then I'll pause this video and come back once it's downloaded. So now that we've got a Mesop installed, it's time to just create our Mesop script. So everything around Mesop is pretty much going to be built within different scripts. So I'm going to walk you through how you can build each different step and kind of the different components that comprise a Mesop script. And so first, something you're going to need to import always is import Mesop as ME. And then Mesop is kind of centered around state classes. And so every model within the app is going to need to be instantiated with a decorator ME state class so that it can use a state class to serve that model. So let's say you're building a generative AI app that's going to generate articles with using a timeline, title, and an outline. You'd create a state class that's going to have a title field, outline field, response field. So you have your 2 input fields and then your 1 response field. And then for each component or function that we're going to create, that state class data is going to need to be persistent throughout and then accessible globally. So that's how we kind of define classes and models within Mesop. But then you also have different pages. So you'll have to define your different pages for your actual data app. And so similar to the state class, all pages are going to be tagged using an ME page decorator within Mesop. So here, defining this table, we're going to define it as, hey, we have our input label of title, our input label of outline, and both of type text. And so this code will generate a basic page with 2 different input fields. So to be able then to store the data in that state class we created previously, each field is going to require a separate function to actually take that data and then input it into that state class we created. So what we'll do is define on title input, so the title that's inputted into our chatbot is going to then be saved as to the state class of article, and we're going to here set the title value to the title that we have inputted into this input here. Then, and so you can see the ME input event is what's governing that kind of transference of that title into an actual value that we can then manipulate and store and feed to our downstream model. Then, similarly, we're going to define almost an identical function here that's going to do the same thing for the outline, just taking that outline in from that input event and then storing it into our state class. So then what we'll do is put that all together, replace our previous ME page, so we'll delete this, and create a new ME page, define app that's going to take those input values from these and use these 2 functions to call that function, take whatever the input value is, and then store it within our data class. And so to access that class state, or state class as you see here, the function used is that me.state. So here, this instance is then stored in that variable s, and then the events in Mesop handled with input event, click event, and there's other events for other different types of interactions as well. So then what we'll do is submit the input data by calling another function from click event. So what we will do here is start to define our response schema. So first, what we'll do is define this here. So going up here to kind of slowly build this out. So have our state class, blog, typing extensions, type dictionary, and then we have our input event. It's fine. We have our both our input events here, and then what we're going to do now is add a click event. So here, define on click. Here, write a blog with the following article title and outline, so feeding in our title and our outline into this kind of pre-built prompt that's then going to be served into the machine learning model and only return the final blog entitled in Markdown format. Then here, the response, we're going to model, generate that content with the prompt generation configuration here. So genai.generationconfig with our response MIME type, just application JSON, so it knows what type to serve that into, response schema, temperature, JSON data, so loading that response text that we get after we feed that prompt into ChatGPT or whatever large language model you want to use. And then here, serving that ending response data to the actual user. And then finally, we're going to need to add to our page a button that will actually trigger this. So here we have the Gemini model that's going to, once you put in a title, outline, and click this button, it's going to use that click action to trigger this event, which is then going to consume that information, generate a prompt, and then serve back a response from the LLM, which is a JSON that's going to contain the actual blog content. Then what we'll do as well is, you probably are going to want to do things like style this. So styling elements in Mesop are pretty similar to existing CSS properties, but they're defined as parameters within me.style function. So once you define your styles within me.style, they can then be stored in variables and then called as parameters within different components themselves. So you can reuse them across different pages and different applications. And here we have our style input width. So let's say the width of the page we want to have, some other just color, background, the padding from the sides of the screen. So just typical kind of CSS configuration to make your page look not totally terrible. And then what we can do to apply that to our actual page is define an app that has ME-box style container. Use our style container that we just defined here. Again, with that box to serve the kind of input menu, use the style for that, and then also use the style for the response that's going to be served back as well. So really easy to just have one kind of template for how you're going to be styling your website, and then serve it to all the applications or all the components of your website that actually need to use that. So that's the script side of things. So then all you need to do is just run this script, and your web page should start to generate. So I'm going to click over there and show you the generated web page what this results with. And so here you have an example of what a quick Mesop data application looks like. So here, we have our cat title, Cats Living Legends, a little outline, introduction to what we should cover, why cats are the best, and why you need to get one. And then feed that into the Gemini AI model, and again, sub that out for whatever your preferred AI model is. And then here, you have a nice, pretty response that gets translated from that JSON and served your end user. So just wanted to kind of show this off, came across it, thought it was cool, thought it deserves a video. If you think it's stupid and you don't want to make more videos on it, let me know in the comments below. But if you like it as well and you want me to go deeper, let me know too. But otherwise, have a great rest of your day. Data Guy out.